Welcome to Your Business, Your Life with Matt DiFrancesco, your personal financial technician. Whether you've had years of success in your business or are just starting out, HighLift Financial can help you create a vision for your business, life, and family, and align these for generational wealth. So as they say, what happens in your life affects your business. And now, on to the show. Well, hello and welcome to Your Business, Your Life with me, Matt DiFrancesco, your wonderful host. And first off, happy 2025. I know this podcast is coming out after the first of the year. So I hope everybody had a great holiday and is looking forward to a happy and prosperous 2025. I know a lot of times as the new year comes around, we kind of reassess where we are, maybe set some new goals. So I wanted to reach out to let anybody know if there's anything that you maybe want to just bounce off me or talk to me about regarding some of the new goals or things that you want to accomplish in 2024, feel free to go to my website, highliftfinancial.com, right-hand portion of the website on the homepage. It's a Let's Chat button, and you can get in there. I give everybody 30 minutes of my time, no cost, just to see if there's any way that we might be able to help you. So with the new year coming around, a lot of new goals come to front of mind with people. So, and I think one of the goals probably I think a lot of repairers have is how do we find talent? Everywhere I go, everybody's having the same problem. They can't find or they have a hard time retaining talent. And so that's why I'm really excited about my guest today, Stan Russell. And it's got a wide variety of experience in the industry. And it's basically been driven by his passion for cars. He began his career in 1984 as an apprentice technician after graduating from Lincoln County High School in Fayetteville, Tennessee. That's going to date him too. So I think, it also dates me too, because I was about the same time. So. But anyway, it has an entrepreneurial spirit. Launched his own repair shop in 1989. And since then, he's become an iCar instructor, and he's actually been an iCar presenter at SEMA. So a wide variety of knowledge with the industry. But I think what's most fascinating to me is that in 2015, he became the pilot instructor for the groundbreaking Service King START program, which was the first industry-funded collision repair program initiative in the U.S., and it was based out of high schools, which I think was really fascinating. And then in the fall of 2023, Stan was recruited by CollisionRight, which is a regional MSO in Dublin, Ohio, to design and implement their Right Start apprentice program. So Stan's really trying to make a positive effect in the business and the positive effect on the young people, trying to show them the benefits to working in this industry. And I think, too many times, even kids or even sometimes shop owners have a mentality that, well, maybe this isn't a specialized industry. And I think Stan's going to be able to speak how specialized it is. And it can be a very lucrative career too. So I'm going to stop talking, and at least for a little bit. And I'll welcome Stan to Your Business, Your Life. So glad to have you, Stan.
It's a pleasure and it's an honor to meet you, Mike. And I will tell every shop owner out there that there is a glimmer of hope. There are some young people out here who are driven, who are motivated, who want to be challenged, but we've got to do things differently than the way we have done it for the last 40 something years. And this is what I've always said in the industry. We were talking about a technician shortage when I started in 1984.
Yeah.
The problem is that the industry has kind of repackaged the same thing for the last 40 years, expecting different results. I looked at work the way my grandparents looked at work. They want to work, but they don't want to spend their entire life working.
Yeah.
And they value that time to actually live. And, it's important that we address that. And one is to, set realistic goals. I've been, I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be an educator in a public school.
Isn't that
when
something?
I started the START program at Franklin High School in Williamson County in 2015, I'd already been in the industry for 31 years.
Right.
I saw the technician challenge firsthand because I owned a business, and I found out that Stan was working 24 hours a day because I simply couldn't find people who had that same mindset that I had. One of the things I do different now when I'm working with these kids is I teach them the industry from the business perspective.
Very interesting. Yes, that was something that fascinated me when we talked. I do want to address that. Why don't you just expound upon that a little bit?
So you think about it, when I'm working with these teenagers, one of the things we do at the school, I try to do late model cars. We're not like a lot of shop programs where it becomes a hobby shop for the instructor. So
Yeah.
we're working late model cars. They have to repair plan. They have to cost, we have to search for parts, and they understand, okay, why are we using a recycled part on this particular vehicle?
Hmm.
And they see that there's a cost savings. We're trying to fix these cars, you know, for the most reasonable price we can. And it's the same thing in any industry.
Hmm.
When they have to plan and they understand the why behind all of this, when they approach a repair in a repair facility and they see that work order, they understand the why behind this is why we're doing this is why we're using this. And they're not fussing and raising Cain. They understand the car's got to be put back to pre-accident condition, but this is a business. And if I ever want to run a business, I have to approach my business from the same way I'm approaching the business perspective of repairing this car in the
Hmm.
best way I possibly can.
Oh, and I think that makes a lot of sense. A question I would kind of pose to you is there's a number of owners out there who are very adamant that they want to use OEM parts. They're learning to address the short pay area. How do you address that?
OEM parts, I completely understand. But if you've looked at some of the packaging on some of the OEM parts,
Mhm.
a lot of the OEM parts that you get are made in China.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yes, I've seen it on US made brands. A lot of these parts are manufactured overseas everywhere.
Okay.
And what we see different now than we would have seen maybe 30 years ago when aftermarket parts first hit the market, you know, they did reverse engineering. But now some of these suppliers manufacturing and supply these parts are the exact same people selling them to the GM, Ford, Chrysler, whoever.
Right.
There is a difference. And in quality, I want the kids to focus on quality. You know as well as I do, they've got to understand when you fix that car, that one car can be a make or break for that business. And if you
Right.
approach every customer from that standpoint, and you know as well as I do, if you're dealing with a customer, an unhappy customer will tell anybody and everybody how unhappy they are.
Right.
Happy customer is going to tell a few, but all of these independent shops across the country built their reputation, turned into regional MSOs because of that quality mentality and approaching everything from that business perspective. So
Mhm.
not only understanding how you do it, this is this is how it's done, this is why it's done, and this is the end result when we get finished
Right.
to approach that, you know, and I tell kids, I like, look, you get out of school, you think you're done learning, you are just started learning. You are going to become a lifelong learner, and if you approach this, I use the analogy. If you'd have went to anybody in the spring of 2019 and said, "Hey, do you have a contingency plan in place in case there's a worldwide event that shuts the entire economy down for an extended period of time?"
Right.
What would most people have said to you?
Nope.
Nope, crazy, never
Yep.
happened.
Yep.
And I tell these kids, I said, no matter what you do in life, learn a skill. That skill will carry you through times when nothing else will. Nobody can outsource repairing cars. You've got something nobody can take away from you.
Right. I think that's an important lesson. And, I think our education system has let kids down by saying,
Right.
okay, well, you need to go to college. You need to get a college degree. And first off, there's a lot of kids that just aren't, it's not that they're stupid, but they're just not college people, but they're very good with their hands and they're very good from a skill set. Or, maybe they're an artist, which fits very well into collision repair. So, I think we've done a disservice to a lot of our kids. What I'm interested in is how are you getting kids into this program? Are they finding you? Are you recruiting? How is this working?
When the principal came to me last year when I started with CollisionRight to develop the apprentice program, he said for years we had to fight to convince kids to take these skilled trades program.
Mm.
He said, "You came in here, you built this program from the ground up, and we're literally turning kids away now. And it's not because of the sudden interest in automobiles, is because these kids know that there's somebody there who genuinely takes an interest in them and wants them to succeed."
Right.
You take that mentality, it changes. Now, I had to overcome that typical reputation of a lot of shop programs or what they called shop
Right.
programs. I've actually, the school where I started, they've got kids now that maybe want to go into mechanical engineering in college. They're sending them to my program because a lot of mechanical engineering questions. I had this from a student last week. It's at University of Tennessee. Most of those questions are automotive related.
Really? Wow.
Yes. And if
Okay.
you think about it, if you think about all of the skill sets that go into repairing a car, I mean, I took a wiring schematic to a counselor and they were blown away. They're like, I had zero idea that this was this complex. I said, exactly. I said,
Yeah.
what we're doing in the automotive industry sometimes is more rigorous than what you're seeing in a college situation.
Oh,
There
yeah.
are hundreds and hundreds, thousands maybe jobs related to this industry. Think about all the ADAS, all the electronics on cars. This is an entire new career field that's opened up in less than 10 years.
Wow.
The
Yeah.
potential that's coming. And that's what I try. I want these kids to dream. I want them to dream big. And, the old analogy, you can work smart or you can work hard. No, you got to do both. You got to
Right.
work smart and work hard.
Yeah.
And if you do that, what happens? We know every shop now. When I was traveling for iCar, every shop I went into, the number one thing is I need another technician.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I tell these kids, I said, when you get to a point where you set yourself apart and you do the best job you can do every day, you will never have to worry about what you're going to do to provide for your family, to be successful. People will hunt you down to recruit you, which is
Right.
exactly what happened with CollisionRight. One of my former contacts was Service King. The recruiter called him and he was telling him what they were trying to do. And he's like, look, it sounds great. I don't know. I have no idea where to start, but I know somebody who does.
That's right.
This is how this works. And when the kids see that, you've got to be realistic, but you've also got to, put it in perspective. You can go as far as you want to, but it's 100% up to you how far you're going to go.
And so that's what you're teaching the kids.
That's what I teach the kids. The energy and the passion is contagious. If I walk in the classroom and I've had a horrible day, they never know it.
Right.
you
Right.
know, and they see that. I model it and I show it to them. And I'm like, look, I've been doing this a long time. I can still mess up. But now I can see when things are starting to go south. Sales go down. What do we do?
That's exactly right. It's interesting there. An old mentor of mine told me that you've heard the expression experience is the best teacher, right?
Right,
And he said that's incorrect. Experience is the most expensive teacher, right? Other people's experience is the best teacher. And
right,
I think, having somebody like you teaching them and mentoring them is probably a very positive thing because they can utilize your 40 years of experience, right, into their own lives and their careers.
right. Well, Service King, when I launched that program in 2015, they weren't expecting anybody for 3 years. I
Oh,
put
really?
kids in the industry year one, first year. I
Wow.
had kids that went to work that are still in the industry to this day.
That's
So
amazing.
it's not only about recruiting, it's recruiting the right people when you find one. A lot of times, and this is what's happened, the industry is in such a dire need for technicians right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're desperate. So if you have a pulse and you will show up for work, we can train you how to fix a car. And the problem is, a lot of companies are trying to train technicians to do major work in short order, and it's not working.
Right.
Think about it. If I've been doing this for 30 years and now you're telling this kid that he can do what I do in 12 to 18 months, you're setting him up for failure right off the bat.
Right.
You ask any shop owner, I'm not letting anybody touch a structural job on a car with less than 5 years experience. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
When I designed this apprentice program, having worked with kids, knowing what's going on in the industry, I set them on a realistic path to get them where they want to be. But we all know not everybody's going to stay with the same career path.
Right.
So
Right.
we do it in stages and then we give them choices. They may do non-structural for a while and they're like, you know what? I think I'd rather get into estimating or ADAS. Okay, well, let's see if we can move you in that direction. I would like to work my way up to a manager. Great. Let's see if we can get you in that direction. So you give them choices. You may lose them as a technician, but you keep them in the industry,
Right. Which I think is a key thing.
keep them involved because you see it. They may try this for a while, then they go back and then like, okay, I learned how to do this. I'm really good at it, but now I'm an estimator. But now I can go help train somebody else. One of the things I tell shop owners and these technicians, especially the ones that are really good and have the experience, the greatest thing you can do. Nobody can take what you've learned away from you, but the greatest thing you can do is share that knowledge and give it to somebody else
Right.
before you. And that's what it's going to take. And a lot of people are insecure. A lot of shops, how they approach the apprenticeship programs, they find their A tech, the one who's making the money, turning the hours.
Mhm.
Now they want them to train somebody, which is going to slow them down, and they expect them to still turn the exact same amount of hours, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't. No, no, you can't do both. And it's interesting. One of my clients, he had a painter who left thinking the grass was greener somewhere else, came back years later realizing how good he had it. And now he's an older gentleman. He's been painting for a number of years. And my client hired him back, and his sole responsibility is to mentor new painters that are coming in.
Right.
And he pays him good money to do that. But
You know,
he understands too that he can't do both. He can't paint and also try to mentor.
yeah. And I know a lot of the big MSOs, and one of the greatest things, I know a lot of people kind of frown on consolidation, but one of the greatest things is just like when Service King started this program, they saw the technician shortage not in a local scale, but on a national scale.
Right.
They had the ability to make something happen. Their ultimate goal was, if my program, failure was not an option for Stan Russell. I wasn't going down in flames because all eyes would be on me. They wanted to replicate this across the country. One
Right.
of the things they discovered really fast, there's not a lot of Stan Russells out there that have the knowledge and experience and are willing to go out
Yeah.
on a limb and do something like what I did.
I was going to ask you because that was something that came up in our conversation about the challenges of running a high school program. And so tell the audience a little bit about that.
Uh, I think one of the biggest is connecting with the kids. That's one of the biggest things. My wife tells me I'm good with teenagers because somehow I still act like.
That's great. That's great.
A part of it is putting yourself in their shoes and trying to understand how and why they think the way they think.
Okay.
You think about it. You tell a kid if you go out and you work hard and you do this, but now all of a sudden their best buddy shot a YouTube video and he's an overnight sensation making millions of dollars.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and everybody wants to be the overnight sensation or the influencer, but those people are like shooting stars. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what happens 5 years down the road?
Right.
And there's a lot that goes into it. We all know there's technicians out there right now, 20 and 30 years in this industry, making stupid money.
Stupid money. Oh, yeah.
But they'll quit your shop and go to work somewhere else for a moderate increase. You know why?
Why?
They're every dime they make.
Yeah.
And part of that is teaching from the business, is teaching the financial literacy early on.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things Stan didn't learn. When I was young, started out, if I wanted it, I bought it.
That's right. Well, I know the feeling. We've all been there, done that, right?
When you start talking to kids about investing and, hey,
Mhm.
set some money aside for this, set some money, you could realistically retire a millionaire.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're going, whoa, wait a minute. I didn't know I could do that. And there's a lot of people in that position now. So giving them the big picture and setting them up for success. How would you like to break those family ties? How would you like to be the one to go out and buy your mom or dad a new house that they never had a chance to get?
Right.
You change your family tree. And when you start showing these kids that big picture and you come in with enthusiasm and you live, eat, and breathe what you talk, and
Mhm.
they see it by example, they
Right.
buy in. You live by what you teach.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And I have a lot of my clients ask me actually to come in and do some financial literacy programs with their employees. And it's
Right.
basic stuff. It's about budgeting. It's about saving. It's about retirement planning, all those type of things. And I tell them they should be thankful that they're working for my client because there's a lot of employers that don't do any of those type of things with them, but they need to learn those skills. I mean, those are
That's
just basic life skills.
and a lot of people they leave because they're stressed out, they can't make ends
Right.
meet, they don't, and a lot of techs don't feel like they have any options. You know,
Right.
this is all I've ever done. I don't know how to do anything else. There's nothing else I can do to make this kind of money. You
Exactly.
And let's face it, their techs are retiring at a faster rate than we're replacing them right now.
That's it. Yeah. In my opinion, I tell my kids this all the time. I'm like, if you're just willing to work hard and put your nose to the grindstone, there you have no competition out there.
Exactly.
There's no competition. So, how many kids are you putting through these programs? And what is their average tenure in the program? Because it seems like you're covering a lot of stuff with them.
It's a 4-year program. And I told Service King when these kids graduate, they're not going to be someone you can turn loose in the shop. This is my goal. I've got to find a kid that has the interest.
Okay.
The first, they got to show me some interest. Then I spark the passion. In other words, I start inspiring and working with them. I teach them the basics. So when they walk into a shop, they understand what's going to be done. This is how this really works in real world. I've even
Mhm.
taken them on shop tours and stuff just so they
Okay.
can see. And, you know, I've had kids that's gone through the apprentice programs from major MSOs that graduated. Matter of fact, I've got an entire shop staffed with some of my former students right now.
Really? Isn't that something? Okay.
They come back and talk, and they're like, "Hook, I've been out of school for 3 years. I just put a down payment on my first house because
Nice.
of what Russell taught me."
Awesome.
When the kids are like, "Oh wow, this is real. This is really happening."
Yeah.
And I tell them, I said, look, if you want to go to college, that's great. But the value of a college degree has gone way down.
Yeah, very much
Not
so.
the biggest financial. I said, you go out here and you spend all this money for the degree in underwater basket weaving, and you wonder why nobody's chasing you down, offering you six figures a year.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
And
exactly.
yeah. But if you're going to go to school, I always say, hey, you want to learn how to manage a business? Go to school to learn how to manage a business
Hmm.
and then go manage a business. A lot of good technicians who had that business mindset, that's how a lot of our mom and pop shops got started.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know as well as I do, you'll see a lot of these multi-generational shops right now where it's like my son, my daughter, they don't have anything to do with this place. This industry is getting tough.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get out.
And that's exactly what I handle. That's the problem a lot of times. But here's what's interesting is, a lot of times this is funny. So I'll get an owner, let's say he's 65. All right. Comes to me and says, look, you know what? I don't know what to do. I think I just got to sell to a consolidator because my kids aren't interested in the business. My employees don't want it. What am I to do? And as I start to help them develop a personal vision, first off, they're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And I said, I'm going to tell you one thing. It's no wonder your kids don't want to do it because us baby boomers, we wear that as a badge of honor. Okay.
Yes. Been there.
It's not that they're not ambitious. It's just they have other priorities too. And they want to make sure that they have a certain amount of balance. They value family time. They value being able to go travel and visit and have experiences, those type of things. What I do is it's kind of like putting a car together. Putting a car together is like a piece of puzzle, right? You just put these pieces together. But if you don't see the picture on the box, it's really hard to put the puzzle together. What I
Exactly.
do is I help the shop owners to create that vision, that picture on the box. What do I want my life to look like? It's amazing to me how many, as we start to go through this process and they start to say, well, you know what? Yeah, having my name on the building is important. Having a legacy. Oh, actually, I'd like to make sure my employees are taken care of. And how we all of a sudden that we just start shifting and start training their employees in different areas, letting them start to take different ownerships, putting in different types of incentive plans to do that. All of a sudden, it shift changes, you know. But I think, again, the biggest challenge is, do we have the people there? And I love what you said about it's about the right person too. It's not
Right.
just about, getting a butt to fill a seat. You've got to have the right people too.
Exactly. You go into certain restaurants, you expect that quality of service, and that can happen in the collision repair industry. In desperate people do desperate things.
Yes.
Let's, and I don't want to. I tell shop owners, don't get to the point where you're desperate. If especially those shop owners now that are maybe in their late 30s and 40s, start looking 15 or 20 years down the road. It's
Right.
the analogy. Would you take $1 million cash today, or would you rather have $1 a day doubled for the next 30
That's
days?
right. Yes,
In other
exactly.
words, you can train and bring somebody up to run your business. And I believe me, I was a business owner. I literally worked 24 hours a day because I wanted Stan's Russell's tall print on every car that rolled out of that shop. I didn't want to turn loose. And
Right.
a lot of small business owners feel the same
Oh,
way.
yeah.
But if you do things right, you can have somebody to run that business that you can trust, which is hard.
Right.
I know, but it's not impossible because
No.
there's businesses being run all across this country every day, and the owners are out enjoying life and they're getting that dollar a day doubled for 30 days versus just taking the money to get out of the industry. And then 5 years, they're bored, they're broke, and they don't know what to do now.
Hey, amen. You hit the nail on the head there too. So Stan, we're getting close to time, but I have another question for you is because
Yes.
we talked a lot about with the MSOs, but the independent shop owner, how would they find these kids that you're training?
Well, I'm in, of course, the Nashville, Tennessee area, but I suggest, I've got an open. I am so passionate about what I do. I am willing to help anybody, just like you, anybody and everybody that's willing to listen.
Right.
It's my goal. There's no strings attached. My mission in life is to help as many people as I can become successful because you think about it. Nobody knows who won the Grammy Award in 2005.
That's right.
I don't know who won the Super Bowl in 1999. But
Right.
I know that one person, that teacher that inspired me and sent me on a trajectory and changed my life because they took the time to take an interest in me. And that's
Right.
where I'm at in life right now. My goal is to give and give and give until I'm not able to give anymore.
That's exactly right. So we're gonna have all your contact information in the show
Yes.
notes. So
Yes.
if anybody has any questions or like, how can we start to find these techs that Stan's training? They can we'll have all your contact information there that they can reach out to you. Is that okay?
Yes, and I also suggest to get involved. If you've got a school with an automotive program, get involved.
If we want to reduce the talent shortages, sometimes we need to take some ownership on that too. So I think that's a great piece of advice.
Absolutely. And for some of those retired business owners, they need teachers just as well as they need techs.
That's exactly right. And you know what? I was telling you about developing this vision or this post shop life if they do want to exit. And
Right.
that's one thing that I think that they could look at is they can give back to the industry. I've always said that you can take the boy out of the shop, but you can't take the shop out of the boy.
100%. I
Right.
agree.
And so why not be able to give back in a different way through teaching, starting a program in your local high school and being able to start training techs for the next generation?
Even in a decent sized town, you could get all the shop owners together and say, "Hey, let's just get us a training center and see if we can get some farm boys that want to learn how to work on cars and see if we can't get something going here."
That's awesome. I think that's a great idea. So
Yeah,
these are all great things, Stan. I really appreciate it. I wish we had more time, and maybe what I'll do is have you on again sometime. We can go dive in a little more. But any
that's
final thoughts that you want to leave the audience with?
everybody that's in this industry. The greatest two words is thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for what you do. The shop owners, look, if you've got good people, you need to let them know how much you appreciate them on a daily basis.
right.
Don't forget where you come from. You may be a business owner making money, but remember those techs out in the shop that are getting older and maybe can't do as much. Encourage, encourage, encourage. That's the best thing I can tell you to do. And let them know that they've got a special gift that nobody can take away from them.
That's
Remind them.
awesome. I think that's great stuff, Stan. So, Stan, I want to thank you for coming on to Your Business, Your Life. And the last thanks goes out to you, the audience. Thank you for listening to Your Business, Your Life with me, Matt DiFrancesco. And if you're not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. That way, when a new episode drops, you'll get to hear it. Great guests like Stan. Also, if you could give us a 5-star review, that moves us up the chart. And we get guests like Stan to more and more people. So, if you're watching on YouTube, please give us some good likes. Like I said, we just want to keep providing great content here in 2025 to the audience. So, Stan, again, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you for
hopefully we'll talk real soon. So, like I said, we'll look to have you on again.
It's an honor. Glad to be here, sir.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank the audience and take care and God bless. Hey, I really want to thank you for listening to the Your Business, Your Life podcast. If you want to be notified when new episodes become available, click the subscribe button below.
All information is obtained from sources deemed reliable but not guaranteed. No tax or legal advice is given nor intended. Content provided herein or on our website should not be construed as an offer for investment advice or for securities, insurance, or other investment products. Investments involve the risk of loss and are not guaranteed. Consult a qualified legal, tax, accounting, or financial professional before implementing any investments or strategy discussed here. High Lift Financial is a DBA for DiFrancesco Financial Concierge, LLC. Investment advisory services are provided through Cornerstone Planning Group, LLC, an independent advisory firm registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.